Welcome. I'm Dr. Liz, an entrepreneur, speaker, podcaster, mom, and wife. This podcast is about hypnosis, but also about all kinds of ways to help you live your fullest life, to heal, transform, to play the long game and go after the joy. You can see more about me at drlizhypnosis.com. Hop over there to get a free hypnosis file to decrease fear and anxiety, or one to increase emotional stability. They're there just for you. I hope you enjoy the podcast as much as I do. Peace. Hi everyone, Dr. Liz here. You are in for a treat on today's episode with Rich Guzzi. He was on the podcast previously in year 2 of the podcast in episode 87. It aired August 6th, 2018. And at that point, he talked more about stage hypnosis. He has been a professional comedian, but now he's moved more into training people on how to be successful in their life, how to raise their quote unquote it factor so that their whole life is easier. I think we all want good ways to feel successful in our life, and not just feel, but be successful in our lives. So you'll hear him talk about the different factors of that. I always like to have something useful and practical, something my audience can actually take into their lives and use when I do an interview. So that is one of my goals for you. When I do an interview, just know that. We start off by talking about hypnosis, and we get more into his programs and things like that. But also, Rich gives us a process that you can actually take into your life today and start doing that raises your it factor, that sort of unexplainable magnetism that some people have. Rich actually breaks this down for us into its 4 or 5 components. So it's a really interesting part of the interview. But he gives you, the listener, a practical way to do that in your life. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. There's a lot of laughter in this interview due to Rich's comedic background. And he and I have always gotten along really well. That was not the last time I talked to him after I had him on the podcast. We've definitely touched base here and there through the years. And then I saw him in Orlando in person, a hypnosis conference that I went to in 2022. And I will tell you, I'm going to start the interview this way, but I will tell you that he truly does have a heart of gold. Sometimes that's hard to pick up on when you're doing an interview or through telephone or something like that. But it is just so clear in person. Maybe that's just me. Maybe other people are better at that than I am. But I just wanted to tell you that he truly is the real deal. He gives lots of useful information, and he also has that heart of gold. All right, everyone. I hope you're healthy and safe. Peace. Hi, Rich. Welcome back to the Hypnotize Me podcast. I know it's been a while since you've been on it.
I'm so excited, actually. That countdown. I loved even the countdown. It's not like I was hypnotizing people already.
Yes, right. I told the listeners that I just saw you in person at a conference in Orlando, and it was the first time actually seeing you in person. And I was just so impressed by not just the information you had to share, but also you just seem to really have like a heart of gold. Like you really are a very caring person.
Well, I appreciate you noticing. I'm this rough and tumble New York guy. And, us New Yorkers, we always get branded as being like these, crass and, very straightforward individuals. But, I am very straightforward. Like I always tell people exactly the truth. But I do it in a way where I try to inspire people and motivate them and have them, reach the excellence that they all deserve.
For sure. Yes, that came across so clearly to me that you really were there to help people and help people learn and be better hypnotists and hypnotherapists and get their businesses working right. Yeah, you really, truly are there to help people.
Yes, I'm very passionate about this business. I like to see people, I don't want to see people suffering, especially when they have good skills. And, hypnosis as a skill is an amazing tool. We have the most powerful tool to make people's lives better. So when it doesn't get utilized properly, where the world doesn't understand what the hypnotist can actually do for you. I think every person should have a hypnotist. It should be just like, you having like, a doctor or a lawyer, a financial advisor. Every person should have a hypnotist. And meanwhile, we get the short end of the stick. So I have to show people, in our industry, here's how you become successful. Here's how you get your name out. Here's how you earn a great living, doing this amazing skill.
Yes. And there is often a split between the training that people get to actually be able to do hypnosis and help people in that way. And then the training they get business wise, like how do you actually run a business doing it and getting the word out. I mean, at the essence, the business part is getting the word out that you can help someone. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what the problem is, a lot of hypnotists, and listen, it's like this with every business, the headline item is the hypnosis. They sell the hypnosis. Hey, I'm a hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of selling the result, here's what you're going to get because of the hypnosis. And
yes,
what happens is then the hypnosis stigma will go away. And hey, listen, I just want to feel better. I just want to get this.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get this. And if you can get this, I don't care how you do it. You want to start waving some magic wands at me or something like that. Hey, it's all good. And you'll see people be very receptive. But if you try to sell the hypnosis out of the box, then what happens is you're going to have a little bit more difficulty.
Absolutely. And I see this in my practice because I am a psychotherapist. So people will often come to me for cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia or CBT for anxiety, something like this. And then once they know me a little bit, a session or two, they'll sometimes ask about hypnosis, like, hey, could we do hypnosis? Because it doesn't seem like anything, I don't know, nefarious is going on there, right? It's just me.
Yes,
that's it.
Exactly. You are, you are at a major advantage. And I always tell people, I said, listen, if these high-end professionals ever learn how to do hypnosis, properly, they're gonna be eating your lunch because they know some really amazing skills when it comes to therapy. And if you got to consider those two things a separate line item, like hypnosis as the induction is a separate line item than the therapy work. And, high-end professionals are good, man. I said, there'll be no more hypnotists if those people learn how to be good hypnotists. So you better get.
Well, I disagree because I know some really good hypnotists that are actually not licensed or professionals, quote unquote, So I don't know. I don't think there's a risk for them going away.
Oh no, there's no question. There's some high end, hypnotherapists also, but you got to remember, you have a major advantage knowing so many. You're a doctor. You know how to do therapy, on a high level. Mm-hmm. The hypnosis, you're adding that little extra delivery system, and that better delivery system is what's going to give you a major advantage.
That's how I see it. Yeah. I feel like it's one tool in my toolbox, but it is a major one. It's like having the hammer in the house. Everyone needs a hammer in your house because you always need a hammer for something. Absolutely. Right? To put a picture up on the wall or to take something down or to fix the fence.
The hammer can do a lot of banging.
Yes. And the tape measure, right? It's like having a tape measure too. Everyone needs a hammer and a tape measure. But it is a major, major tool in my toolbox. And I think once clients see that too, they actually want it. They ask for it. They want more of it because it is almost always so effective.
Oh, it's incredible. I love the combination of a therapist professional with hypnosis. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love that combination. And that's why you're in the catbird seat. You have the capability of training hypnotists in your field. Now obviously I can be able to get a degree like you got. Mm-hmm. However, you'll be able to show them some little tricks of the trade on what really gets into people's minds and it becomes effective. And that's the future right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting because someone asked me the other day about whether I believe in psychoanalysis. And I was like, psychoanalysis? I mean, people still do psychoanalysis where they go in 5 days a week and lay on someone's couch and I don't know, the therapist says, a lot of the time, right? Like,
That's Sigmund Freud type stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring that up is because I see the field moving so much faster towards more short-term solutions, where it's
Absolutely.
like people want change quickly. Hypnosis is one of those ways to do that. It's like, it is a shortcut. It is, that's how I see it. It's a therapeutic shortcut.
It's the new magic pill.
It is.
And everybody wants the magic pill.
They do. Even though I tell them, even in the initial phone call, I'm like, I do not have the magic pill. Like, this is not a magic one. There is a process to it. I cannot just wave it and, boom, you're fixed.
It's not going to take 15 years of psychoanalysis laying on the couch and you make that breakthrough and
exactly
back the layers of the onion. And also, your parents were so bad to you. And then all of a sudden, we had this breakthrough. But meanwhile, they're not really fixed. The hypnosis digs in. I consider hypnosis like the better delivery system. I consider it the needle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you stick the person with the needle instead of you taking the pill where it has to go through your bloodstream first, all this other stuff. This is a direct shot.
True. Yeah. The theory behind it is really that we are really truly changing neural pathways in a very quick and fast and efficient way, not the 10 years of psychoanalysis, So
that's my goal with Hypnosis World. My goal with Hypnosis World is to get really quality hypnotists on there doing an amazing job for clients. They see their hypnotists on a regular basis, just like you would, like I said, like your doctor, your lawyer, your financial advisor. The hypnotist should be on that same exact list.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about Hypnosis World, and also I want to get to the course you're running this summer because I am super excited about it. So tell us some about both. Okay.
Hypnosis World, the concept was almost like matching great hypnotists up with clients who need that work. So a hypnotist can join Hypnosis World, and say, I really want to start seeing more clients. And they're not good at the business aspect of it, but they just want to see clients. They really want to help people make change. But they don't want to go crazy, like, running a business, all this stuff. Like, okay, no problem. Here's what we'll do. Hypnosis World will get you the clients and you'll just go out and service those clients.
Oh,
and
so it's like a referral service.
Exactly. And they'll be matched up with the proper hypnotist for that particular, area of expertise. So let's say you're a pain specialist, then, we'll match you up with a hypnotist who really enjoys that particular topic, who really has put the effort into being really expert in that area.
Yes.
And you'll be matched up with the proper hypnotist and get obviously excellent results because that person's the top professional. Where what happens with a lot of hypnotists, they don't have passion to stop smoking or weight loss or something like that. They have passion for another area, but they have to keep the doors open, so they have to take all that work that, just comes in for a hypnotist, where now they have passion for this particular area of expertise, this particular of change work. And now their business flourishes because they're working with those clients pretty much exclusively, and they can earn a great living doing what they really love to do.
For sure.
The client in return gets somebody who is expert in that field, and they have an amazing experience also. And the ultimate goal is to raise the bar of what hypnosis is in the public's mind. The public, once they embrace hypnosis and find out what it really can do, because they have a lot of wow factor, that's what's going to put hypnosis on the map and really become the go-to item for change work.
Got it. And
instead of the last resort. Right now, we're the last resort. And I won't change that.
Yes, a lot of people call me because I'm the last resort. Yes, absolutely.
Which is a shame because you should be the first one because you're the best one.
Yeah. Well, they like to try all kinds of other stuff sometimes first, but you basically mapped like the career of a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, often a therapist as well, where they start out, they really do need to see all kinds of clients just to be able to to support their family to stay in practice. And
Of
then
course.
the more specialized you get, and as your practice grows, it's like you do. I know for me, I found those areas that I really love to work with. And then that just explodes and becomes itself. But those first years are hard. They really are.
They're very hard. Yeah, they are. And a lot of people, they're not business people. In fact, most people aren't business people.
Yeah.
They got into something because they enjoy that.
Yes.
It's not just hypnosis. It's like landscaping. Like, the guy's a landscaper.
Uh-huh.
He does beautiful carvings of the bushes and stuff and mows the lawn perfectly. But, he don't know nothing about business, running books and hiring employees. That all happens kind of by accident. And, eventually you get busted up. You try to scale it and it doesn't work.
It's true.
So he mows the lawn himself.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the hypnotist. The hypnotist, just wants to help people. He wants to learn how to be a great hypnotist. But there's very few courses on how to run the business and blow your business up.
It's so true. Yeah. Like I'm thinking, I have a kid in college right now. And I mean, you never hear anyone say, well, I'm studying business because eventually I want to be a hypnotherapist. Like, no, they would study psychology, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know all this stuff about, helping people's minds change.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no stuff on how to actually run the business, and to get clients and all that stuff.
Yeah. Very
I
true.
happen to be very lucky. I've been an entrepreneur since I'm 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a job in my adult life.
Wow.
So
really?
I've always had my own business. So, and listen, there's been a lot of growing pains over the past, almost 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've made all the mistakes. I've gone through the meat grinder, and I figured out what works and what, how to grow a business and build a business, no matter what it is. I had a car business, a real estate business, lots of other construction businesses.
Uh-huh.
So, and now I'm in the hypnosis business. I was in show business, which is another dirty game,
Yeah.
So I've been in some of the toughest businesses on the planet. The only one I haven't done is politics.
Oh.
I think that's the hardest one out of all. That's a real dirty game.
It's true.
But that entrepreneurship is what was maybe be able to create this new business to help, because I'm very passionate about people getting help.
Mm-hmm.
It saved me and helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? Everybody should be doing this. Everybody, because I always thought myself, I was a tough, strong character. I was always that tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I needed a solution, this is what helped me. And I couldn't do it on my own. Mm-hmm. I couldn't just cope and say, all right, I'm going to fix this. My mother beat me up when I was a kid, and, I couldn't fix it. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden this solution fixed me.
What was that? Like, what was your first experience with hypnosis?
Some guy, I don't even remember the guy's name. It was like so many years ago. But I was like, I needed some help. And this guy saw me at a show. I was a regular comedian at the time. Uh-huh. And this guy saw me at a show and says, I can help you. I said, well, I don't need no help. He goes, oh, no, you need the help. You need help. I said, he saw it before me. And he bought me this book. Uh-huh. And I said, this guy's a maniac. I threw the book in the trunk of my car and said, this is ridiculous. But he saw it before me because a couple months later, I crashed and burned. Ooh. And I grabbed that book out of the trunk. And to show you how the universe works, I remember I was in Detroit. I was in the hotel they put us on was like this Motel 6. Uh-huh. And it was a crappy little hotel. And all of a sudden, I was desperate. I said, I need to read that book. So I found the book in the trunk of the car. It was all beat up now. And from suitcases going in and out of it for the past 6 months. Mm-hmm. And then I bring the book into the hotel, and the hotel gets struck by lightning. And all of a sudden, now all the lights are on. I'm like, oh, man, look at this. I can't even read the book. I want to read the book. And all of a sudden, I actually went in the car and read it with the dome light.
Oh, my gosh.
And I said, man, I'm really in big, that's how much trouble I was in. Uh-huh. And that's what got me on the path and got me started. Ah. And I found all these tools to get me back in shape, get my life back in order.
Wow. Do you remember what the book was?
It was Ogmandino.
Ogmandino.
Yeah. And that was the start. That was the start of all of this 30 years ago.
Wow. Wow.
And I got fascinated with hypnosis and all the self-help products. I started reading everything I could get my hands on.
Wow.
And then I added it to my show because I was a regular comedian. I added hypnosis to my show, and then bang, all of a sudden my career took off.
Yeah.
And then the weirdest thing happened. I just thought, I was like, oh man, I'm making a lot of money now. I got this great show. And then here's the weird thing that happened. I just thought I was being funny. And now I was, I had a better career. But I get a phone call in the middle of the night because my website actually has my phone number on it too. I get a phone call from this lady, and she says, I don't know what you did to my husband, but he was on your stage tonight. And he would never volunteer for stuff like this, but somehow you talked him into it with your show. And he went on stage, and he was the star of the show. But here's the interesting thing. He actually was talking on the way home that he'd never talked like this in a while because he just come back from the war. And he actually slept in bed with me tonight because he's always worried about hitting me in the middle of the night because he has these night terrors. But now he's changed. And I got my husband back, and my kids got their dad back.
Whoa.
And I'm like, whoa, man, this is powerful stuff here. This is more than a comedy show at this point. I mean, these people are getting results because I always did that good energy affirmation after my shows, where everybody gets to participate in something really good, when I emerge the subjects. And what happens is I put all this good stuff in there, so people's lives are going to change and do this, nice. It really stamped the show home nicely.
Yeah.
But I wasn't realizing that this was helping all these thousands of people I'd be seeing every week.
Wow.
Because I'd be seeing 1,000, 2,000 people every week at my shows. And all of a sudden, it put the worm in my ear. I started noticing, hey, what's going on here? I started doing a little reconnaissance. Turns out there's hundreds of people every week getting all this change happening for their lives.
Fantastic.
Not just a comedy show.
Yeah.
And that's what really changed. That's what really jacked things up to the next level when I noticed that was going on. And I said, okay, I have to add more of this to the show. And now the show has become basically like an infomercial for self-help and change. It's all about it's all about how to make your life better. I want to make you laugh. You've seen my show.
Yeah.
I make people laugh home.
For sure. Yes.
But it's all about how to make your life better. And all those little doodads are snuck into the show. And that's the craftsmanship of the show. A great show should be funny, but also should have all the elements to educate the audience that this is what they should be doing to make their life better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the secret. That's the secret ingredient because they don't even know they're getting it. Because now by doing it, sneaking it in a comedy show, they're getting blindsided. And it's like, wait a minute. And you can actually see their faces transform as the show goes on. And they're like, wait a minute, there's more to this than that. Oh man, this guy, I may have to use this for this. I could, and all of a sudden you're converting all these people into believers and ambassadors of hypnosis.
Yeah. Great. In a way that's entertaining and fun and easy.
It's non-threatening.
Yeah.
If you go talk to a stranger and tell them about hypnosis, there's a lot of them gonna be, they think you're pitching and selling something, and they, what is that stuff, right? But they see a show, it's very non-threatening and sneaks up on them. And the craftsmanship of the show should be you, right? The practitioner, the hypnotist, making people laugh, but then also educating your audience that this is what needs to be happening, right? If you put hypnosis into your life, I guarantee your life's going to be better.
Yeah, it's true. I had it's like my ex-husband's cousin. One time he found out I was doing hypnosis because, I haven't done hypnosis forever. It was something I got trained in 2014, I think, and then started doing it. But he is like, oh my God, hypnosis is so powerful. And I was like, really? This is not what you typically hear from someone. You hear all the fear stuff.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And he said, yeah, I went to a show with my mom and my mom went on stage and she did things that she would never do in real life. I mean, nothing, bad, but he was like, right. That's powerful. Like, that's powerful stuff. And I was like, wow, he's an example of exactly what you're talking about, where he saw in a very fun way how powerful something could be.
The job of the stage hypnotist is to convert regular people into ambassadors of hypnosis.
Yes. Yeah.
I tell all my students, the number one job is to make the audience believe that hypnosis is real and can help them.
Great.
There's 3 decisions that have to happen during a show all the time. You're making thousands of decisions every show. to make sure the show becomes successful. And the first decision is always, if I do this, will it make the show more or less believable about hypnosis? The second decision, right? If I do this, will it make the show better or worse? So in other words, if I make this decision, is the show going to be better, funnier, more entertaining, more inspirational, or less? And the third decision is, if I do this, am I going to make more money or less money? So you see how money is the last decision. It's always the last one. The first one is making people understand that hypnosis is real, and now am I going to become an ambassador to hypnosis? So all your decisions. So there's a hierarchy of decisions that happen split second on the fly thousands of times during the show.
Yeah. But it is good to have those like underlying rules, intentions, let's call them, going on. I mean, what popped into my mind is when I'm in a therapy session, my primary intention is whatever I say, the intention is to help the client, period. So I don't say something if it's not going to be helpful, in some way, right? Like I don't tell a story, or I don't do this, or I don't say something about my life or their life, unless I truly believe that it is for the best healing of that client. So it's really interesting. How long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching hypnosis probably for about 5 years now. I've been doing hypnosis for 30. And then I got into teaching it because I got asked to speak at a conference. And I spoke at this conference, and there was 100, eager hypnotists, wanting to learn from me and I didn't even know this because I just did my show, kind of a rogue shark. I didn't know anything about other hypnotists and stuff. I didn't follow any of the Facebook groups or any of that stuff. I would just do my show, and that's it. I didn't realize that I was the number one guy that everybody wanted to be. I'm like, really? How could that be? But it's because I was doing 300 shows a year.
Whoa, that's a lot.
In all the best venues, all across the world, and everybody wanted my schedule. So that's why this other hypnotist brought me in to be the speaker, and all these guys were like, "Wait, that's Rich Guzzi. Looks like he looks like a regular guy, right?" And I'm like, I am a regular guy.
Yeah.
So it was really funny because my girlfriend was saying, "You need to start dressing up more. Everybody thinks you're a big celebrity." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I'm a regular guy." No. They all idolize you. I said, "What are you talking about?" It was it was a very surreal moment. It was very weird to me. I just and even when my fans come up looking to take pictures with me, I'm like, "We want to take a picture with me for?" But I realized that I'm changing people's lives, and I'm entertaining them, and I just always thought of myself as a regular guy. So anyway, I taught at this conference, and everybody was like mesmerized by what I was saying. The thought process that I went into it. I would tell them about my music, on how I had crafted special music for the show that started off at 80 beats a minute, and then after 30 seconds went down to 75 beats a minute, and then 70 beats a minute. So when I'm doing the induction, the heart rate would match up with the music beats, and then slow the heart rate down and make it easier to hypnotize people. And everybody's like, "Wait a minute, you don't put that much thought and effort. You put that much thought and effort into this? You're a neurotic crazy man."
It's good business sense.
Because exactly. You're always trying to stack the deck in your favor in every possible way.
Yes.
Especially because the venues I have to work they're not like the slam dunk high school gigs and college gigs that everybody's going to go into hypnosis by just waving at them. These, you actually have to be a good hypnotist at the shows I do. So I'm like, I gotta take everything into account here. So I literally devised diabolical ways to hypnotize people, in every scenario possible. You can because you go on every gig you do, you have to do the media, radio and TV. So now you go on a TV show at 7:00 in the morning. They want you to hypnotize somebody who's never been hypnotized before, does not want to be hypnotized. You have to hypnotize them quick, make them do something funny, put a post-up down a suggestion, and take them out of hypnosis, do something good for them with a good energy affirmation, promote your show, all within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
incredible, right? Not the
that's a tall order.
Yeah.
It means you got to knock the guy out in 10 seconds, 15 seconds tops.
Right.
So he doesn't want to be hypnotized. So I had to come up with a plan on how to be able to do that. So I made an induction just for that.
Great.
And all these things were all well thought out and scientifically designed, over the course of 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden I realized that everybody wanted to learn how to do it now because they had the exact same issues.
Yeah.
They would go in at 4:00 in the morning to pre-hypnotize somebody and then, work with a whole bunch of people to try to end up with one person that they dragged onto the show,
Mm-hmm.
which would obviously look kind of fishy.
Yeah.
Because now they're like, hey, where'd this guy come from?
Right.
where so, and then all of a sudden, remember, the number one decision is hypnosis real?
Mm-hmm.
So now the television audience sees that and like, hey, this is kind of fishy. Where'd this guy come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where if they see you hypnotize the host live on the air, now you have the wow factor.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I did what I did, and I came up with these techniques.
Okay.
And that's what I preach to all the people I teach. That's the number one decision. Make sure people understand that what you're doing makes hypnosis look real. And if you do that, you will be the king. You will be the queen.
Mm-hmm.
You will have it. You will have the keys to the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And I've been teaching for 5 years now, and I teach what I've learned and created over the past 30, to make this job lucrative as well as successful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I was fascinated by the course you're running this summer because I know you have several courses.
Mm-hmm.
You want to list them off for me? I don't know them off the top of my head.
Well, my signature courses are obviously, there's a lot of interest in the gorilla hypnosis course.
Okay.
And that's the 5. I only use 5 inductions, believe it or not. I know there's guys who teach like hundreds of inductions, which is to me is totally necessary. It's all derivatives of other stuff.
I don't need hundreds of inductions. I mean, I use the same ones all the time because they work.
Yep.
I use what works.
I literally have 5 inductions that if you learn these 5, you can hypnotize anybody, any place, anywhere, anytime. You're standing up in a bar with a band playing in the background, no problem. On TV live, the person does not want to be hypnotized.
Okay.
All right. I got one for that. So in fact, actually, you can do it with 4. Because the 5th induction is only for showing off to other hypnotists.
Right.
The 5th one's kind of really unnecessary. I made it because I wanted to show people that I am the man.
Okay, got it. But the gorilla hypnosis is more for people who wanting to do like stage hypnosis, performing, comedy.
No, actually, it's actually for all hypnotists who want to be a really high end, elite level hypnotist. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's mostly clinical hypnotists coming in to learning how to do really high-end skills.
Oh,
it's tradecraft.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you become like a hypnotic operative.
Ooh.
You are literally a walking lead induction machine. So you can walk into a Starbucks as a clinical hypnotist, start chatting somebody up, knock that person out with like 3 or 4 bystanders, and get clients from that instantaneously.
Ooh, gosh! If you want to work at Starbucks, right? Like. I stand in line at Starbucks and I'm concentrating on my coffee, but gotcha. You can go pretty much anywhere. And if you have the intention of really connecting with people and
you want to be on the air, you want to be really good on TV and the radio. And I've done literally over 1,000 television and radio shows. So I had to learn how to be good at it.
Okay.
But it's great for the clinical hypnotist.
Yeah.
There's those morning blend TV shows and those radio shows, the talk radios and stuff in your town, that if you were good at doing hypnosis on those shows, your career would blow up. It would explode.
Agreed. Yes.
If you go on there and wow that TV show and wow that radio show, they'll literally have you on every month.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you are the main person in that town. You own that town.
I can see that. There's a morning show that I listen to, and it's like they have regular spots that come in, right? Like Dr. So-and-so that answers, strange medical questions or something like that. Yep. So it could be like a real repeating performance.
Exactly. And I show all my people how to be great on those radio shows and TV shows where they're going to make you come back every month to do more of it. And next thing you know, like I said, you become a recurring guest on the show and you literally own the town.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure the referrals from that are just through the roof.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so that's the gorilla course.
Okay.
I have the It Factor course.
Yeah.
Which to me, that's probably the one you're talking about.
I think so. The one that you're running this summer.
Yes.
Okay. In Nashville.
In Nashville, correct.
All right.
So there's 4 things that you need to be successful in any business. As a serial entrepreneur that I am, I've dissected why I do what I do, and I boil it down. There's 4 categories. There's your skill sets.
Mm-hmm.
There's your marketing capability.
Mm-hmm.
There's your leadership and outsourcing, and there's the it factor. Those are the 4 categories you need to score points in.
Okay.
So what I do is I give you 25 points for each category, and then you add up the points, and cumulatively, depending on how many points you have, I can tell you exactly how successful you are in business.
Ooh.
So
Interesting.
it's dead on accurate too. It's amazing. I've had grown men crying, like literally crying, like, how do you even know that about me, right? Because they're like, I said, well, I just add up the points, and the points never mess up.
They
And
add them
so
up themselves, like they rate themselves, or you're rating them, or you actually have a scale.
I have a scale.
Oh,
yeah,
you do.
I ask.
Okay.
Oh, I have a scale. Oh, yeah, and I ask them, and I always use the it factor one on my own, because I can always tell how much it factor they have just by looking at them.
Uh-huh.
So you get 25 points for each category.
Okay.
So in other words, let's take skills first.
Does everyone I'm wondering if everyone does this. Like when you said the categories and said that, it's like, I immediately start ranking myself, but I know I'm really competitive. So I don't know if everyone does that.
That's really good though. Actually, being competitive is good, because now you want to excel. You want to raise your scores in those different categories.
Yes.
Right. So let's take your skills first. Who do you think would score more points, a surgeon or a bricklayer?
It depends. I mean, if the bricklayer is really good at bricklaying, they would score themselves as very skilled and competent.
Absolutely. But you got to remember that the doctor, the surgeon, had to go to 12 years of school, do all kinds of internships, right? And he's dealing with people's lives.
Okay.
So the skill level, and there's less people who can do it. So the less people who can do the skill, the more points you're going to score.
Oh, got it. Okay. So it's not just like within your field.
It's not just the
global,
the ability of, exactly. Like it could be a crappy bricklayer and this could be a good one.
Yeah.
But the bricklayer, more people can do it. So the skill number goes lower.
Gotcha. Okay.
But now the bricklayer could also score higher if he's a better bricklayer.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But to score a 25 in skill set,
mm-hmm.
you have to be kind of like almost like a corporate leader, a corporate executive, because only one person, 2 people, 10 people can do that job.
Okay.
So a 25, anything in the 20s is super hard to get.
Okay.
If your skills are in the is a 10 or a 15, you're really killing it. You're doing a great job.
Oh, great. I scored myself like a 20 in my head, so I'm like, I'm not going to out of the park here.
Well, you are a doctor, and you have a skill like the hypnotist. So you probably are a 10 or a 15.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's that's definitely pretty good.
And it's funny because I'm taking a course called Front Row CEO: How to Start Thinking More Like a CEO of Your Business versus a lower level, right? Basically. Yeah. So it's interesting when you said that. Like, all right, it is a mindset, and it's a skill too. That is,
it really is.
Yeah.
This is so much fun, because this really breaks it down for you. It makes it fun.
Uh-huh.
Because then you could, and I'll tell you once you go through all the categories, I'll tell you more about on how you can start raising the categories. So the next one is marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So how good of a marketer you are.
Yeah.
So I always like to use celebrities, because people know celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy like Richard Branson is an expert marketer. The guy's almost like P.T. Barnum.
Yes.
He's doing balloon racing and boats across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
He's very charismatic. So he's a guy who would be in the 20s, 20, 25.
Okay.
All right. So, how good is your marketing capability? Also, you can look at the person's social media platforms. So they have a lot of,
mm-hmm.
a lot of followers on social media, which means they're probably a better marketer than the person who's got like almost nothing going on.
Yeah.
So the marketing is, you can have a great skill, but if you can't market it, then it's no good. You're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
You're not going to be successful. It's like hanging a Rembrandt in a barn. Like you have a beautiful masterpiece painting, but nobody can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And what good is it?
True.
The farmer looks like that's kindling. He throws it in the garbage.
Yeah.
So marketing is your second category. You get 0 to 25 points in that category. Next one is leadership and outsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
So, because there's going to be jobs that you hate to do or you cannot do.
Yeah.
So you have to be a good leader and outsource and be able to get those jobs done.
Yes.
And the better you are at that, obviously the more successful you're going to be. A guy like Henry Ford, who didn't know how to build cars or do any of that stuff, but he was great at getting other people to do those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of his categories that he was just brilliant at.
Yeah.
The whole automation of it. When the Chicago newspaper was like, chastising him, saying the guy's an imbecile, because he didn't know like a lot of, data.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know who the president was in like the 1800s. He was like, look, why do I need to fill up my brain with that information? I've got 150 phone lines on my desk, and I can call anybody to get that information anytime I want. I'm a leader.
Huh.
And
interesting.
And he won his case because of that line.
Wow.
Because they realized that this is not a dumb guy. This is a smart guy that just knows how to delegate duties.
Yeah.
So
that's clearly like when they talk about the best leaders, you read literature or podcasts, anything, your ability to delegate is super important.
Super important
to go to a next level. So maybe you don't start out there, maybe you don't have the funds to start out there, whatever that is, but to move to another level, you have to eventually
scale and grow bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're going to scale and grow bigger, you need the third category.
Yes,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see how this point thing works and why that really makes total sense once we get to the end here.
Okay.
The last category is it factor.
Mm-hmm.
The it factor is that special secret ingredient that for some reason, I know every person listening in your audience right now knows this person who's not as skilled as you, but they're successful anyway. Yeah. And doesn't that agitate you? Everybody knows these people.
Yes.
And I can tell you right now, it has nothing to do with their skills. It has to do with their it factor. They probably have more it factor than you. And the it factor is that secret ingredient that make a regular person successful, but a person with real skills, a superstar.
Uh-huh.
And the good news is, for the first time ever, you can learn the it factor. Most people who have the it factor have it naturally, but they don't know how to teach it. They don't even know what they're doing. They're just doing it naturally. Mm-hmm. But for the first time, I figured out the reason why I was so successful my entire life is because of the it factor.
Oh, yeah.
I've had this special ingredient. You see, when I walk into the room, I own the room. I light it up.
Yes. And
everybody's saying, "Oh, hey, there's Rich Guzzi, right?" And then, hey, who is that guy? Let's talk to that guy, just because I'm talking and I'm loud and I'm inspiring people. And everybody's like laughing and joking. That's it factor.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So the more it factor, obviously, you score 0 to 25 points in it factor. So who's a 25? Well, I like to use celebrities. Well, Bill Clinton's a 25. Mm-hmm. He walks in the room. He owns the room. He's the most charismatic guy in the room.
Okay. Got it.
Will Smith's in the 20s.
In the 20s, I would think Will Smith's at like a 25.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's super charismatic. He's the man.
Yeah.
All right. So, a good it factor score is like 15.
Okay.
That's a regular guy who's just like, he walks in the room, he owns the room. A 15 in the it factor is amazing. It's a killer score. A 15 in any category is an amazing score. But now here's the real thing, the secret to all of this. If you have more it factor, does that make you better at leadership and outsourcing?
No. I don't know.
Think?
Do you think?
I think.
You do?
Right? So
why?
If you have more it factor, do you think you can get more people to do stuff for you because you're just better at talking to them?
Oh, for sure. Yes.
So it's the trickle down effect. If you have more it factor, you're going to be just better at getting people to do jobs for you.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yes, that's true. Yeah. Like they want to work for you versus like
they do, because for some reason you know how to talk to each person individually. You know how to give them what they want. And then all of a sudden they're all too happy to work for you and do what they got to do.
Okay. Got it.
So now what about marketing? Are you a better marketer because you have more it factor?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's how influencers, the whole influencer industry arose. They have it factor basically.
The better. That's right. Influencer, right? Mm-hmm. Kim Kardashian ain't selling nothing but herself.
Right. Yeah.
But she's a great marketer, right? The sister's a billionaire.
Yes.
Because she's everybody wants to be her. Mm-hmm. All right. True. Now, what about your skills? This is where you were alluding to with the bricklayer. If the bricklayer, right, he can't score a 25 like the surgeon can, yet he can jack his number up with more it factor. Because when he comes to your house, says, "Oh man, this is a beautiful house. We take this wood siding off, put beautiful bricks with a beautiful grout," right? he's selling it in a different way. He's not a regular bricklayer anymore. Now he's a bricklayer with charisma.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden now his score goes up because of the it factor.
Yeah.
So the trickle down effect makes the it factor probably the most important category of all four.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say your skill is a 4 or 5 because you're the bricklayer or you're the hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden your marketing capability, you got 1,000 followers on Facebook, and you really, you do a little advertising, but you're not really a great marketer yet.
Mm-hmm.
Your leadership now outsourcing. So marketing, you're probably scoring a 1 or a 2 probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then leadership and outsourcing, you're working for yourself. You don't have anybody, so every once in a while, we need some printing done. You call the printer up and he prints something up for you. So you're probably a 0 or a 1 over there.
Okay. And
your it factor, you're not a schlub. So, you still you still talk to people, but you're probably a 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
So if you add it all up, you have 5 and 5 is 10 and 10 and coming. So you probably have 14, 15 points cumulatively over the course of all 4 categories.
Okay.
You know what that means?
What?
You make about $30,000 a year.
Interesting. So the higher the score tends to correlate with income.
Correct. So the higher the score, the more financial success you have. So if you're in the 20s or 30s, now you have a 6-figure income.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So now let's think about that. Everybody's goal is, you always hear this, I want to make 6 figures.
Yeah.
I want to make 6 figures. Even though they should shoot for higher than that, because 6 figures is not that big a deal anymore.
Yeah. It only gets you so far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's 6 figures. You're not knocking on dead anymore. You basically own your job.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but that's a category that people want to get to, right? So if you get into the 20s, all right, then you're going to have that you're going to have that income that you want.
Mm-hmm.
So all I need to do is raise your points in the easiest categories for you, and I'll get you where you want to be. It'll happen automatically. It'll happen magically. So let's take the one where it costs no money to raise your score, the it factor.
Yeah.
So if I get you to a 15 in it factor and you only get 5 points in the other 3 categories, that means you're at 25 already.
True. That's true.
Now you're making your 6-figure income, and you become the person that you can't stand, that's successful, that you don't even know why they're successful. You become, because at a default you have 25 points.
Yeah.
Because you had 15 in the it factor.
Yeah.
So you become successful out of default.
Right.
And that's why I teach the it factor right away. That's the first
interesting.
class.
That is really interesting, because that is sometimes what you think, like you said, everyone knows that person, and it does feel like they're successful by default. Like they're not truly doing anything, better or more or anything like that.
It's almost agitating. Because everybody says that. I know all your listeners are saying, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, he's nowhere near as good as me. Yet for some reason he's making money and I'm not.
Yeah, you get annoyed, right? Me,
it's annoying.
I get annoyed by it.
It's annoying. It's annoying to see. I said, this person's actually a schnook compared to me.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that is the case. It's like, oh my God, they're like bad or worse or whatever. They truly don't have your skill. Yeah.
No way. Not even close.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the class. So the it factor is probably the one you talked about. I'm doing that. Oh yes, I'm doing that over the summer. I do my stage hypnosis training class, which is teaching you how to not only be a stage performer, but also how to be a corporate speaker and how to, do presentations in front of, be a trainer properly. So that's June 13, 14, 15.
Okay.
But the it factor class is June 16 and 17.
Oh, that's coming up. It is sooner than I thought.
Yeah, it's 2 full days because we work day and night.
Mm-hmm.
And we eat all the meals right at my house, because I have a training facility right at my house.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
so everybody comes to my house. We eat all the meals together. It's all included. And after dinner, we assimilate everything, and then we go downstairs. We practice. We practice all the techniques. So when you leave, you have the it factor.
Got it. Then, can you give the listeners a tip right now about just how to raise their it factor?
Yes. Here's what you do. Here's a great little technique you can use right now to start raising your it factor. So I want you folks out there in Radio Land, in Dr. Liz land, I want you to think about a time when you knocked it out of the park, when you did something so amazing. Everybody was saying, wow, Liz, that was incredible. You all have those stories, right? Liz, you have that story, don't you?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Several.
All right. Very good. So, and don't you have to be about work? It can be about something you did playing baseball or something like that. The one I use as my example in the class is the one, my baseball story. So you pick a story that you knocked out of the park. And then what I want you to do is I want you to tell that story to a partner. And I want you to tell the story. I mean, just don't just go through the motions. Tell the story, because this is one of your greatest stories in your life. Tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
Your partner's job is to write down all the movements, facial expressions, breathing things that you do while you're telling the story, all your tells and ticks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's say while you're telling the story, you get those monkey eyes where your eyebrows go up, your face lights up, or you clasp your hands together during this one climax part of the story. Those are your tells. And then your partner writes those tells down. And then what you'll do is, just by telling the story, you already raised your state. But then what I want you to do is I want you to take those tells and start doing those tells all day long when you're going about your life. I call it in the field, because we're always just like operative training. It's like I want you to be like the Jason Bourne of hypnosis. I want you to be like the Jason Bourne of the It Factor. So you have to be like an operative. So you're out in the field and you're at the Starbucks or you're at the International House of Pancakes. You're out for dinner somewhere. Do your tells in regular conversation. So you're asking for a table. And it's a party of two. And you do that same exact hand clasp when you're doing the climax of your story. And all of a sudden, the person you're talking to just lights up. And they're like, wow, this person is somebody of influence. They don't even know why. It's because you're doing your power moves all day long. So now, magically, over the course of the next month or so, by you doing these moves over and over again, you become the best version of yourself all the time.
Got it. Okay,
you get it?
interesting.
Because your physiology, your body movements and stuff, all of a sudden, it's almost like you're telling that great story to the world every day.
Yeah,
and now
absolutely.
The best times in your life become your regular life.
Okay. I'll tell you. So, Rich did this in the workshop that I was in with him in Orlando, but I missed that last piece somehow. I was probably thinking about other stuff. Who knows? Right? But I'll tell you, Rich, this really affected. I had a gentleman, he's an older gentleman in session, and he started having a panic attack in session, okay, which is, it's not that common. It doesn't happen all the time. It's probably happened maybe, I don't know, twice in like the last 5 years or something.
Right.
So he's having a panic attack in session. And he's like pacing around my office, and he's really disturbed, his his visible anxiety pretty much on his face everywhere. So I'm the therapist, so I'm calm. So I say to him, I'm like, well, Mr. X, let's just take a breath here. And if you like, you can have a seat or you can keep pacing, either way. But I want you to tell me a time that you were really successful in your life, like something that really had an impact, where you felt like you hit it out of the park. And now I knew this man was a business owner. You have to have successes to continue to be a business owner, okay? Or else you close the business.
This is hitting exactly what we're talking about. Very good.
So he pauses for a moment and he's like, anything? I'm like, anything, like a really good success where, you felt really good. He says, okay. And he naturally just sits down and he starts telling me this. And of course, everything shifts, in session. The panic attack goes away, right? I say, okay, well, let's notice how do you feel now? And he's like, oh, very calm. I'm like, okay, you shifted out of that panic attack state in it's less than a minute that you're able to shift into this state. So it really impacted me. And I can tell the listeners, when you begin to use this technique that Rich just taught you, it can truly impact your life. It can teach you how to move into this other state at will, is basically what you're saying. But also you're saying that final step where you begin to use it in your life starts to embed it into just who you are. Like you do it naturally. Like you don't really have to think about it, right?
Exactly. And the great thing about it is the fact The next step after this is you create on-ramps. I call them on-ramps. So an on-ramp is like, you speed up to get onto the highway. So what you want to do is you want to create on-ramps for your stories. You're going to have more stories because you have more than just one in your life. You have lots of them. So you want to create an on-ramp for this trigger that will now turn you on.
Okay.
So now you're doing a client meeting and you want to sign them up for your business. If you sign them up for sessions, so we use the hypnotist as the example. So you're a hypnotist, and this person comes in. You have a 6-session weight loss protocol that's like $1,200, and you want to sell them the protocol, and you want to make this $1,200 sale. So now you have an on ramp that is very exciting. With all the hand movements, all that stuff. And you create yourself this trigger that says, the home run story. Like for me, it'd be like the home run story. When I hit the home run when I was a kid against the best pitcher in the league. Okay. And I just say home run story. And all of a sudden I'm already, my trigger has already been hit. And it's all of a sudden, see how my voice just went up a little bit. I just triggered myself because I'm really good at this, obviously. So I tell the home run story. And now, instead of telling the home run story, I tell about how great this weight loss protocol is. And I'm now using new words, but I'm using the same story as the home run story because I created that trigger that turns it on. So I'm telling the home run story, but I'm telling the client, you need to get this protocol, 6 sessions. It's going to make you feel amazing. And boom, you're going to knock it out of the park. You're going to look so good. And weight's going to pour off your body and you're going to feel so good about doing this. You're going to walk down the street looking absolutely amazing. So I'm using the exact same story as the home run story, but I'm using new words for the protocol. And all because I triggered myself with an on-ramp. And I have these I have these in the holster like ammunition. And I have one for lots of different scenarios that I encounter all day long. So, so what you'll do is you'll write down all the areas that you're going to frequent. So let's say you go to the gym a lot. You go to you go out to eat at the country club. You have to speak to clients in the office. You write all those places down that you frequent a lot, and then you write an on-ramp, a trigger story for all of those. And next thing you know, you're burning down, you're burning it up. Everybody's just so infatuated with you. You are the it person. You are the it factor person.
Okay. So it reminds me of, the power positions that they say to do, like, before
the power
meeting
pose,
or whatever, the
pose.
Superman pose, or the hands behind the head with the elbows extended, those. But this is more like personal.
Exactly.
It is personalized. It is your own power positions, basically, and trigger words. So it's not just the position, it's the trigger word that you learn to just trigger that state of mind, and then all the body language that goes with it.
Exactly. That's and personalized is the exact right word. Very astute. It's now the Superman pose might not be your pose.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's the personalized one is so much more effective because it's real. Yeah. It's organic. It's natural. You're doing it. This is you. This is your story. And you are so confident in you. The it factor, it consists of 5 categories. It's confidence, charisma, communication skills, the clothes, the way you look, and your celebrity-like status.
Okay. Celebrity-like status.
Yep. So you get 5. You get 5 points for each category, and that's your 25 points. Your 25 cumulative points.
Okay. Interesting. Love it. So you focus on these 5 areas. Like, how do we get you
exactly?
Okay.
So if I see that your communication skills are the weak link, we boost it. We boost the communication. But if we boost all 5 categories, then you'll get closer to 25. And that's our goal. Yes. Our goal is to get you to 20. If we get you to 20, then you can really squeak by with all the 3 categories and still
true,
and still be amazingly successful.
Yeah, which probably people are not going to squeak by. Like they probably they have some good skills.
They're going to have.
You know what I'm saying?
They're going to have a 5. You're going to get a 5, and I'm going to show you how to boost.
At least
I'm going to show you how to boost those categories too. Because remember, if you're a 50, you're a millionaire.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that coordinates to like,
Absolutely. And that
you're reaching a
right.
million.
And as you'll see, it gets harder and harder to score more and more points. So that's why the billionaires who were in the 80s and 90s, that's really hard to do, because look how hard it is to be in 20 in all four categories.
Yeah.
Because the higher you go, the more difficult it is to score the points. That's why the system is so brilliant.
Got it.
It's designed to, where not everybody can be a billionaire. It's impossible. You can't, because you can't score enough points in all the categories. You can't do it.
Okay. Yeah, personally, I don't want to be a billionaire.
But I can get,
like it seems like a lot of problems to me.
To get your phone don't stop ringing.
We are at the end of our time here, but it has been such a pleasure to have you back on the podcast. And thank you so much for sharing the very practical tip that people can do and telling us about your courses and hypnosis and your life. It's been a real pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. I mean, the more I get this stuff out there, the more I can help people in our industry. I'm creating a better place for the entire world. But it's going to put Hypnosis World on the map. That's my goal, is to put hypnosis on the map. And I'm going to do it through this Hypnosis World thing. I'm very passionate about it. I want hypnotists to be successful.
Great. But some of the It Factor course, you don't have to be a hypnotist to go to that this summer.
No, it's actually anybody. In fact,
anybody.
I have lots of other people in that course, not just hypnotists. It's my signature course for the masses. Because every single person on the planet needs the It Factor course. Because if you jack that number up, I guarantee you're going to be more charismatic in every situation. So
yeah, I can see your life becomes easier.
It just does.
Basically,
people will treat you different. And the great thing about this course here, after the course is over, the course is still not over. There's a 100-day It Factor challenge that comes with it right after the course is over.
Ooh.
So now I'm all about doing. With me, I'm all about doing the exercises and doing the work. I don't want to just teach you the stuff. I want you to do it. So for 100 days, you get the lesson. You get a new lesson, because I say in 100 days, if you become 1% better every day, you'll be twice as good at the end of the 100 days. So
wow.
I stay on you. I stay with you for 100 days after the course is over, and I give you little micro lessons, and it's a little exercise to do every day. And next thing you know, all the materials get assimilated, and you are the It Factor at the end of 100 days.
Fantastic. I can tell you from talking to people at the conference and stuff, Rich never goes away. Okay. He is so supportive and they love him. There's Rich Guzzi groupies, basically, because you do give so much to people. I give people deliver over and above is your reputation.
My real phone number is on the website, on Hypnosis World website. You can actually call me up and say, "Hey, Rich, I need some help with this," and I'll help you out. That's what I do.
Wow. Well, thank you again for being on the podcast.
My pleasure. If you can find all this information and more on hypnosisworld.com.
Oh, yes. Thank you for saying that. I always ask that and I forgot. So hypnosisworld.com. You can see his courses. Can you get connected with the hypnotherapist on there?
Yes, you can. And you can also sign up to be one of the hypnotherapists for Hypnosis World.
Okay, fantastic. So hypnosisworld.com. That's pretty easy to remember. Yeah. Hypnosisworld.com.
And also there's a free package of goodies on there. If you sign up to be with Hypnosis World, you get, that music I was telling you about earlier. You could have that for free. You can have my induction script for free. You can have my good energy affirmation script for free. You can get a 30-minute consultation with Rich about your business for free.
Awesome. So that will also be in the show notes, everyone. But you've heard it here. I hope you truly enjoyed today's episode. Remember that you can get free hypnosis downloads over at my website, drlizhypnosis.com, DRLIZ hypnosis.com. I work all over the world doing hypnosis. So if you're interested in working with me, please schedule a free consultation over at my website, and we'll see what your goals are and if I can be of service to you in helping you reach them. Finally, if you liked today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast or tell a friend. That way, more and more people learn about the power of hypnosis. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week. Peace. This podcast is not mental health treatment, nor should it replace mental health treatment. If you need therapy or hypnotherapy, please seek treatment from a trained professional.